Hey, this is Alex Vasco with All For Him Racing Videos, and you're listening to Cash on the Hood podcast. When you're done listening, please go over to YouTube and check out all the number 4 Him Racing videos for all your derby action needs.
Hey, yo, welcome to Cash on the Hood. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We got Alex Vasco with us this time for a 3-part series. Our main man, Steven Sickles. But before all that, like, share, subscribe, please. Hold on, Brian from Cinema Psychos needs you to like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Alex Vasco, the man behind All For Him Racing Videos, which we post derby videos all over the internet, all the different social medias, where if you've seen a video, it's probably been one of ours somewhere along the line.
That's awesome. Steven
Sickles, Revved Up GarageCast, Revved Up Custom and Automotive, Sickles Racing. We do a little bit of everything in the derby world, but not too much of anything, it seems like.
You're building me a car, and I'm pretty stoked, buddy.
Yeah, we're currently working on Sauer's next, what is it, Art Car V3?
It's the Pittsburgh art car, PGH art car.
But
is this the van, or?
This is the station wagon, the 77 Chrysler that we took to Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, but next year we're taking a built minivan from Steven Sickles. I need something I can walk away from. I was so worried about the glass this year that people will jump up and down on the roof.
So, and then break
the windshield. The windshield's so precious to me. So, but we need a built minivan to take this year.
Yeah, I didn't realize how independent the 74 to 78 Chrysler wagon is. So glad you didn't let anyone destroy anything too much.
Oh, yeah, I knew it was prized possession. So, speaking of that, Alex.
Hi.
Yeah, buddy. Give everybody some numbers real quick. Why are you the number one guy?
Well, if we're looking at just numbers, on YouTube, I have 48,000 subscribers. On TikTok, I've got just shy of 56,000 followers. And on YouTube, at Facebook, I'm at 69,000. So if you total those all together, that's a big number.
That's fantastic.
Followers that have saw our derby videos, liked it, and wanted to follow and get more.
Individually, you're number one. Like, you probably accommodate with one of those numbers more than 99% of the derby guys.
Yeah, I would. I definitely have gravitated. YouTube is my main bread and butter, and then everything else kind of funnels to it. Mm-hmm. But as to keep from getting stagnant and everything else, I definitely wanted to start branching out to the other social medias when I had a little bit more bandwidth and just try to show everybody what we're about.
Yeah. And you drove all the way across you're from Fort Wayne?
Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yep. So it was a 5-hour drive to get here, and I wanted to be on this awesome podcast just to be with my friends.
That's great. As the listeners are now going to know that we are collaborating in podcasting or in our platforms.
Yep.
So you'll be hearing an All For Him video or audio clip promo.
Yep.
In the middle of these upcoming podcasts.
And you're going to be seeing your logo and all of our videos this coming season here.
Jackpot.
Yep.
Jackpot. I've made it. We're doing big things, Steven Sickles.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Now, I saw Steven Sickles. You guys have been working together a long time, but Steven says he's been watching your videos on how-to for 10 years now, since he was in high school.
Well, no, that's I've been out of high school a little bit longer than that, but it's been a long time. I remember... I could have swore I remember seeing it on We Crash, like some of his videos posted even back in the day.
Yeah, my tag was engineer guy, and I was posting around because I was my background and actual career outside of all this is engineering, and so I tried to latch into how can I take some of the engineering stuff and incorporate it into derby. I've since kind of moved away from that a little bit, but I think that's what you'll start to see a little bit more on our content is trying to bring some of that back.
I love seeing, recently you've been posting more and more pictures of your past derby cars and builds, it seems like. And I always forget and don't think of you as a driver, not to be. And
to be fair, that's the reason I started posting that was this particular last season. Most people didn't know I drove.
Yeah.
And it's I actually had a whole career of driving before I even started really filming much. So
right.
Absolutely.
I wanted to bring some of that back. And mostly I brought back the cars that were all featured on our YouTube channel. So not everything, but just try to dig out some of those old ones.
I didn't remember a lot of those, and it's nice to see that and make you connect with your fans.
Yep. So the original channel that we had started, I started that back in 2010 when I was in college. I was looking around on YouTube. It was still kind of new. I think what was YouTube really popular? 2006 is when it really popped.
Yeah.
There was hardly anybody doing derby content. There was maybe 3 or 4 other channels at the time. And I said, you know what? I know some video. My dad had a digital video camera, and I just started posting what we were doing.
Nice.
Filming stuff in the garage and around the house, just what we were building, give updates, the events we ran, and then it just grew from there. Due to some complications with YouTube changing their policies, I started a new channel in 2012, and that's the one everybody's familiar with.
That's beautiful.
It was still all for him racing, the original channel, and at one time we were number 2 in the world with that one, because it was here's the crazy numbers. With 1,800 subscribers, I was number 2. And the other guy only had just over 2,000. So the audience was so much smaller back then too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's amazing how much things have grown and progressed since I started this.
Definitely. I look at my old YouTube clips of, from 7, 8, 9. Yeah. I'm like,
and they look super clunky, but I remember them at the time looking like this super high def. This is awesome kind of camera. But then now I look back at it, I'm almost embarrassed to keep it there.
Yeah.
My YouTube channel is probably still about 15 years old now, so my old ones are still on there if you go way back. And I actually recorded with a cell phone, so they're like hard to watch.
Oh,
now.
wow, yeah. Yeah, I had the flip phone.
That's it. I had flip
the
phone.
USB on the side. You could plug it right in.
Yeah.
But you had to sit there and hold it. And I remember when I got my first monopod, that's when life changed.
I think I upgraded to like a Samsung Glide. It had like the phone slid in half and the keyboard was under it.
Yep.
I remember recording
those.
derbies with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the flip phone really changed it for me because you could just plug it into your. It would take 45 minutes to upload to YouTube.
Yep.
You remember?
Oh, yeah.
So you'd plug it in, get everything set up, and you're like, all right, go to dinner, and come back, and hopefully that 45-minute video.
Yeah, back then you definitely had to walk away for a while when you were uploading stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and that was a per video. So when I first started doing a few of these events, it would take, all night. It would take 7 hours to upload a whole event.
Well, even now when you're uploading this large of events, I'm pretty sure you've upgraded your internet recently, I saw. But when I've done a whole event, like I set it all to upload and walk away, but there's like 10 of them that upload in like an hour or two. Yep. YouTube makes it pretty easy to do that now.
They do. And that's why I've really liked YouTube, is because the barrier to entry is easy. It's really easy tools to use. And, that's where the eyes are. People overlook the fact that YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And so to me, that's important. I want people to find our content. Not to brag about me at all, but I just want to get Derby out into more living rooms, and I feel that that's the best tool for me to do that.
I'm one of them people that overlook that, and I use YouTube. I search stuff on YouTube daily about how to do this, how to do that. I didn't realize that.
And I've dabbled with some of those automotive how-to videos too. So I actually, for the first few years when I was monetized, that's what actually earned most of my income from, was actually from non-Derby related content. It wasn't until the last like 4 or 5 years that shift.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So it's kind of fun. Actually, I was in a business meeting with, for my engineering job, and one of our customers was talking about a repair he made on his car. And I'm like, hey, what video did you happen to stumble across? And it turned out he actually used my video to fix his car.
Nice.
It's awesome.
What kind of car was it?
I'm trying to remember which one that was. I changed the heater core in my Super Duty pickup truck. Nice. And there was only one other video that had views on YouTube at the time. And so I thought, okay, I could do a better job. So I made a video outlining the areas that I thought the guy could have been more clear. And now I have that video that gets views still to this day.
Yeah, a lot of the how-to videos are strung out just way too long on YouTube, so you got to be a little bit more direct, and sometimes that's better.
And I admit I've done that myself too, because I tend to talk too much as an engineer. I come at it from a very analytical standpoint. I want to make sure I give all the details, and sometimes you just need to jump to the chase.
Yeah. Yeah, right to the hard part.
Yeah, because as a content creator myself, it drives me nuts when people don't do that. Just like, if you would have just edited this a little bit better, you would have an awesome video.
What's interesting to me about your following is TikTok. I feel you were actually sort of later into the TikTok game. Oh,
I was very late to the TikTok game. Partly I just didn't think I had the bandwidth, and I also didn't realize that there was such an audience there.
So what's your following in TikTok? What's the numbers there?
I'm at 55,800.
So in what, 2 years?
Yeah, about a year and a half actually.
Okay, because I remember one of your first viral ones.
Yeah, you were one of my first viral ones. So
yeah.
Yeah, that was where you hit the guy. I think it was that final
I was
confrontation.
disappointed. I watched that video all the time, and then you unpinned it, and I'm like, man, this is going to be hard to find.
Yeah,
probably like 300,000 of the views.
Yeah, that one had close to, I think, 4 million views on it.
Yeah, I think it was actually up over 4 last time I saw it.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like 4.1 or 4.2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but TikTok's an interesting one because it's really stagnated for us. We were really growing pretty heavy, and then all of a sudden it just kind of hit this plateau and just stopped. But I'm still very blessed for where we are because it could be going the other way, and we're still maintaining where we're at. So I'm excited about that. But partly I just didn't want to. It took me getting over myself to realize that I could post content that I've already posted elsewhere, and that most people probably wouldn't realize it.
Yeah, you have to. You have to for sure.
Because there's so many platforms, but there's only so many derbies. I can't do unique content on every single one that somebody hasn't seen before, but chances are you probably haven't seen that particular clip. Because I'm still finding people that want to,
Is there a way on your YouTube to see the total hours of video you have out to the world?
Yes. And actually that was one of the numbers I was looking at. So like view wise, I've got over 26 million on our channel. But the one that's going to blow your mind is the total watch time. We have 3.8 million hours that people have watched derby content on our channel.
Nice.
And to put that into perspective, I put that to years. That's 433 years worth of videos that people have sat and watched.
Nice.
That's a pretty impressive number.
It's a heck of a number that it makes you shake a little bit. Like, I can't believe I got to look at it from the point that I've entertained people for that extended period of time, but that I've taken that much of their life and watching derby content. But,
went from really cool to slightly depressed. No,
but you know what I mean? It's like, wow, that just shows you the power that you have as a content creator, that you can impact lives.
Oh, 100%. Think of
433 years worth of impact I've had on people. Yeah. That is amazing.
Well, it's your dedication. You drive across Ohio each and every weekend.
So that wasn't really impressive numbers, but where I was actually going with, like, say Dead Man Derby was 8 hours of film.
Oh, okay.
Is there any way to tell how many hours of film? Like, if I watched every video of yours in concession, how long would it take me? Is there any way for... There's not like a storage bank or something?
No, unfortunately not. Because it would have to be a per event thing, which I have been for the last couple of years re-releasing events where I take all the heats and put them into one video so you can see about how much time there was.
So where I'm going with that is how you struggle to repost your content.
Yeah.
For someone to know what all content you even have, you have so much content. There's no way. So
yep. And if I put it to numbers as well for videos, I have 3,400 videos on my channel. I'm sure you probably missed one.
Oh, missed a few. So 3,400 videos. Yeah, that gets you close to the.
Yeah.
So reiterating, like on TikTok, taking those highlights and stuff, I think it was a home run, and that's why you gained such a large following.
Yeah,
quickly.
and I found a whole new audience because I also learned that not everybody translates across platforms. Sure, there's some people that want to watch on all these different platforms, but chances are if you like YouTube, you kind of gravitate towards YouTube. If you like TikTok, you consume it that way. The same thing with Facebook. So it's just adapting, learning, being a student of whatever platform it is that I want to be on, and just trying to knock it out from there.
Well, the Most Wanted Car Club's a good example of that. I always forget Leach doesn't have Facebook. So he doesn't see any of that stuff, but he's constantly like, oh, you did this on TikTok. So now that I haven't been posting on TikTok a lot, Leach is probably clueless what I'm doing in my life.
What are you doing?
He's waiting for you to put something on Snapchat.
Yeah. He follows he's always on the Snapchat or TikTok, but.
I mean, that's what Brian tells us to do. You got to pull apart your big clips, make them bite-sized for TikTok, and that way you can...
I feel Brandy keeps Leach updated, though.
She does. She does.
But that's where my my highlight videos, that's where that came from. Back in 2020 was the first year. Well, no, 2019 was the first year that I did it. I was like, I traveled all over the country filming all these cool derbies. I want to show the best of the best. The best action shots, that I captured. And so what I did was I took that, went and rewatched every event, and got every clip that I thought was worthy of being in that video, and then I put it together, and then it just blew up the internet. Because everybody was like, whoa, this is just like nothing but the best hits and action. There was a lot of time spent on that. Like I don't even know how much time I spent on that video. She probably knows better than me, but at least 2 hours a night from, Thanksgiving until probably February. So you translate that, I'm probably close to 75 to 80 hours per video for that. But it goes crazy. My 2020, I think it is the one that went really viral, and that one's at like 1.5 million views, which for a derby, that's pretty cool.
So that's good numbers. That's
me and Jason were talking earlier, and to speak on we were discussing like how much we go to derbies, and then like when I'm at home, I don't rewatch the derbies anymore. I've gotten so derbied out that like unless it's a derby I ran in,
you don't need to see
only
it.
go watch like myself to see what I did wrong, what I did right. But with you coming onto TikTok, I do watch those, and them hardest hitting videos. That pertains to someone like me that isn't going to go watch hours of derbies because I'm at the derby.
Yeah.
I watch the derby in person. I wouldn't lie to you. Unless it's a derby I've ran now, I probably don't go rewatch it.
Well, that's fair. And the other thing is, it's kind of funny where people will watch that and not even realize that those hits occurred at that event. Because, let's be honest, some of that we've all been to those shows where you're just it's kind of a letdown. You go like, man, was anybody hitting that night? But then I pull out those little clips and realize, no, there were some guys on fire. Yeah. And this is their chance to shine. So I think that's what I got to go up to Canada for the first time and film this year. And they made a point to point out that, hey, if you guys want to be famous, you better put on some hits. And everybody was like clapping and super excited, and they were pumped because they would just want to put on a show and make that highlight reel. And that's one of those events that actually it's been sitting in my queue for a little while now, because I realize how many good hits are out of that event that I want to make sure I do the best of my ability to pull out and to give those guys the chance to shine.
Yeah, that's great what you do for the community. It's what you give them, that evidence, because before you, derby is like a spoken history.
Yep.
There wasn't the history, and back, you have the catalog to help create your writing history. So the history book starts with your channel. That's
an interesting way to, yeah, that's a very, very good point. We're capturing memories for honestly generations. I've talked to some guys that no longer derby. They've had to retire, whether it was because of injuries or, they aged out or life just happened. And they still say that they like rewatching certain events that they ran with their grandkids, for example. How cool is that? Yeah. Realize you're impacting people that way. And it's kind of hard to describe, but you guys kind of know this. You tend to work in a vacuum a lot when you're making this content. It's not like you're with a big crowd and like, oh, look at this video, and then you post it. No, you're just sitting in your living room by yourself. You're like, here it is. Yep. So it is fun to be able to hear how much it does mean to people, because you tend to just kind of like, when I go to film an event, you guys know I show up probably right before it starts. I film, and then I'm out the door trying to chase Mark Elliott out of the place. Because, I go to a lot of events, but two, I got to get home and edit and get this stuff going.
And plus work your normal job.
Yeah. And the derby stuff is my full-time job when I'm not at work. So it truly is it's become a lifestyle. It had to be able to get to where we are. Yeah. You've really put in the commitment and the time.
Well, the hours you put in to make the montages and everything is greatly appreciated, because I think our sport is one thing that's the hardest about our sport is when you're watching a video of Demolition Derby, it's hard to portray how intense the Demolition Derby actually is.
Yes.
The video seems to slow the sport down.
I can agree with that. Yep.
Because I can't tell you how many times, and I know I've made a 15, 20 mile per hour hit that's like, it rattles your teeth. The other driver that you hit's in their passenger floorboard. Then you watch the video and it's like, that was sort of lame.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then you watch some of the highlights and you're like, oh man, that had to hurt.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So putting them together is definitely bringing the attention. It's a boom in the attention.
Yeah.
For our sport.
And I'd like to fill in the gaps where people need that derby fix, because, sometimes you need a break and then other times you need that fix. And what I also find interesting is that a lot of my views do tend to come from the summertime, when people are probably the most busy in everything with the derby, but they're just into it. Yeah. So
It's playing in the garage while they're building.
Exactly.
95% of my friends fall off from November to March.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then all of a sudden they reappear again.
Yeah, and then they're
build
like,
a derby car.
Yep.
Hey, is my car still sitting out back? Yes.
But if I can give credit to the reason we've been most successful, she's sitting over there. It's my wife. She was the one that allowed me to be able to do it to the level that we have been. I'm just full transparency. Once we did start to make a little bit of money from the videos, we kind of looked at each other and said, hey, let's just see what happens if we start traveling more. Whether that's growing the audience or anything. And so she said, do it. And we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how to make it work. And that was 2019, and that's when the channel blew up. So
That's awesome.
I'll give her all the credit, and she's the reason that I can continue to do all this for everybody.
Well, this show's about art, hustle, and demolition derby. So the hustle part of that is it has to have value for you too. You might want to do this, and it might be like deep down you're rooted in the sport and want to see it do well. But if it doesn't have some sort of value, you can't.
True.
I mean, it just wouldn't be obtainable for you to travel that far without getting a return on your investment at some point.
And maybe we'll keep the hustle part for part 2, so everybody has to have a cliffhanger.
I'm ready right now. I'm going to say, let's talk about being on tour. But we're going to talk about tour at the next episode. So Brian says from Cinema Psychos and his 300 podcasts, or nearly 300 podcasts, he says, like, share, subscribe, or I'll be in trouble.
Make sure to follow this guy. He's all over, and same thing with Sickles. You guys have great content, so don't hesitate at all to follow these guys. They got some great stuff.
And how do we find you, Alex?
You can find us at all the number 4 Him Racing videos. We're on all the socials. We've got, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook are our primary ones. You might find us posting every once in a while on Instagram just to dabble, but those are where you're primarily going to find us.
Steven?
Steven Sickles on Facebook, Revved Up GarageCast on everything else, or Sickles Racing.
All right. Salute the Car Club. Everyone listening at home, I love you very much. 2 more weeks, you're going to catch us again.